Yo, what's going on, man? Kevin Prize here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the number one most important rule to attracting any woman. I haven't shared this with a lot of people, but the ones that I have, it has completely revolutionized the way that they attract and seduce women. I'm sure you've heard of the philosopher Plato, and he has a famous quote that goes, "Human behavior is dictated by three things: our desires, our knowledge, and our emotions. And if you want a woman's behavior to be ripping your clothes off and begging for you, then you need to focus on her emotions." There's a key distinction between the way that men and women think. Men are very critical thinkers. We make our decisions based on logic. Women are very emotional. I'm sure you know this. But you really want to take a step back and realize how much their brains are focused on solely emotions and how little they're focused on logic. If you look at a girl who's been in a bad relationship, maybe her boyfriend cheated on her, maybe he's just fucked up, she is going to continue to go back to that loser because he is the strongest source of her emotions. He is the one that is giving her the most emotions in her life right now. You might be thinking, wow, that doesn't make sense because he doesn't make you feel good, he is a bad person, he keeps cheating on you, where a girl will completely fucking ignore all of that and just think, he's giving me strong hits of emotion. And so she's going to continue to just go back to this guy until some other fucking 1%er badass comes into her life and starts giving her stronger hits of emotion. And the most important thing that you can take away from that example is the fact that it doesn't really matter what emotions you're giving a girl as long as you are the strongest source of emotions. In that case, it's a very negative emotion, yet she continues to go back to him. Doesn't matter what the emotion is, as long as you are the strongest source, that is how you are going to attract women. That is the number one rule to attracting women. So, that was a little bit of philosophy. I'm going to give you some more practical stuff to use now. What is one way that you can go out tonight and start using this? I'll give you three. The very first one is push-pull. It's a pretty simple topic if you've been into anything into dating. It's the idea where you say something verbally or physically and you give that girl a little push away. And you use this after you've built up a little bit of connection, maybe after you've talked to her for about 5 or 10 minutes. It really depends on how invested she is in you. So, an example of you using this verbally would be her being like, yeah, I went shopping before I came here today and I picked up a pair of Adidas runners. And you just look at her and you're like, Adidas runners? Wow. I had such high hopes for you. And then you just walk away from her and she's like, what the fuck? And grabs your arm and pulls you back in. And now she's escalating on you. And now she is realizing how much of an investment she has in you and she wants you back. You're pushing her away and she's thinking, I don't want to leave. And now she's grabbing you and holding on to this interaction. So another example of this, not verbally, but physically, would be you're having a conversation with a girl, and let's say you're the girl, and we're facing each other, we're talking, and she's rambling on about something, and you all of a sudden just start looking away and looking at other things and paying a little bit less attention to her and giving not the best responses, 1 or 2 words. I haven't made eye contact with her in a little bit, but then she's gonna say something along the lines of, yeah, I went hiking. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you went hiking? That's sick. I fucking love hiking. That's awesome. People today are so like lazy and they don't like to get out and do shit, and that shit's fun. I like that. And now she's like, oh, thank God I have him back. So the idea is that you are losing interest in her, looking around, and she realizes this. She's not oblivious to the fact that you're losing interest in her. And all of a sudden, she says something interesting, and then all of a sudden, you gain more interest in her. And you're like, wow, that's great. And she's like, yes, I have him back. And that's you pulling her back. You looking away is the push. You saying, wow, that's really interesting, is the pull. So what's another way you can use this? Disqualifications. These ones are one of my favorites. They're a little less blatant as a push-pull and more subliminal. A push-pull, you would maybe want to use something as extreme as the example I gave you where you got up and left. Maybe more at a night setting, something where there's a lot more energy. Disqualification is a little bit more subliminal, so this is something that you could use casually. Maybe you don't even have to be out in like a nightclub. You could be just during the day talking to someone or talking to some girl in your social circle and throwing this shit in there. So a really simple example of a disqualifier, and disqualifiers are very easy to use, would be you're talking about a girl who you think is attractive and she has blonde hair, and you're just saying, wow, there's just something about blonde hair girls that I've always thought they're just fucking gorgeous. I don't know what it is. No other hair color really does it for me. And the girl sitting over there is a brunette, and she's like, what the fuck? I thought we were connecting. I thought we were cool. And girls are very solipsistic, meaning they're going to bring that shit back to them and think about it. Like, is he not interested in me? I thought we were vibing. And she's going to be confused. And confusion is a good emotion that you want to cultivate in a woman, especially if she's confused about your emotions towards her. So what's another example? The last way I'm going to show you, the third way I'm going to share with you how to use this is with shock humor. And this one is really, I would say it's a cornerstone in the way that I interact, not just with girls, but with everybody in general. It's just, people love this shit and they eat it up. So what's an example of shock humor? Here's a pretty blatant one. Let's say that you're talking about your job and you're telling a girl that you're an accountant and everything that's so fucking great about being an accountant. And you're like, yeah, we're very smart and we're funny and we're exciting and we all have huge fucking cocks. And she's like, what? Just so taken back, and it doesn't even matter if she's a girl. Every other guy's gonna be like, what the fuck? And just laugh. And they're gonna be drawn into that because that's so unique, so not heard of today. Today, people's conversations are, yeah, I'm an accountant and I do this. Oh, what do you do? Oh, that's cool. So what's your favorite color? Oh, I like blue. Okay. And it's fucking boring. And why would someone want to be a part of that? Agreed? It's stupid. And another more casual way that you can use this is not with some blatant, outlandish line, which I do use. I think it's very funny. And that's a key here, is that you're not just doing this because Kevin Price said this shit attracts people. You're doing this because you think it's funny. So another way that you can use it, a little less blatant, a little less outlandish, would be you're talking to a girl and you're talking about your relationship with your parents, maybe. And she says, yeah, I had a great relationship with my mom and my dad, and they pushed me to get into this and that. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And she tells you, or she asks you, what's your relationship like with them? And you're like, was not good. They locked me up in a basement for a long time. Only fed me peas. I hate fucking peas, man. Hate them. And they made me listen to Barney till I was 13. Just the Barney soundtrack. It's very fucked up. And she's like just blown away by this kind of thing. I mean, it's ridiculous. And maybe that's not your style. Maybe you don't think that kind of stuff is funny. I think it's funny. I don't like peas. But whatever you think is funny, that's a little ridiculous, is what you're going to be using here. Because answering a question like, what's your relationship with your parents? Like, it's kind of boring. Honestly, like, it's just boring small talk. You probably think it's boring. I mean, you can have that with anybody. Honestly, she should be asking you a better question. But she already asked you this shit, so you might as well make it interesting. And when you're having fun with the question and you're saying shit that's interesting and fun, she's gonna have fun. She's gonna get these hits of dopamine. She's gonna be emotionally invested. You're gonna be the strongest source of her emotions. You're gonna be the fucking 1%er that girls fucking lust over, and you're gonna fucking kill it. Alright? Peace, man.